We are buying America, and Joe, we are buying mobile home parks. Yesterday we drove around several, and it caught my attention that we were talking about the mobile home parks best friends.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it because I never thought about it. So I think it's very important to explain to investors about these new friends that we have.
So, you know, that's a very good point that you make, and I want to start off by saying, you know, it's we don't mean this in a demeaning way, because obviously everyone needs a place to live.
Yes.
And there's a starting point. So I'm all for, you know, for as much as I'm a capitalist, people sometimes misconstrue the idea of like capitalism as wanting to take advantage of those that aren't able. And why are we doing stuff like this? Because we are providing the education to help the people that not only have made it and want to continue to create massive wealth for generations to come, but even for those that are starting off. Without the education, they would have no chance. But the education and the opportunities in America allow you to go from mobile home parks and affordable housing to, you know, living amongst stuff like this. So, look, I think I want to share with you the distinction between like classes, because I think when the education is given for people to understand how the different classes think is when you can start to look at life a little bit different. The poor, unfortunately, the poor, their objective is to just pay bills, right?
Yes.
That's what they're working for. They're working jobs to try and pay bills. Then you have the middle class, which by the way is disappearing in this country, right?
Yes.
But you have the middle class who are making pretty good money at their job and are buying things that really don't necessarily provide value, but they're acquiring things to impress other people. And then you have the rich. Then you have the wealthy. Man, they don't care about any of that kind of stuff. The way they think is, how do I take this dollar and turn it into two? How do I turn it into three? How do I take this game of money and not only make it fun, but really make it grow? Mm-hmm. That's the difference between the, you know, the class distinctions.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like so much about the mobile home parks is that somehow we can help these people to grow, to make a progress. It's not just about the numbers. And I think, as you were saying, and it makes me worry, of course, that the middle class is disappearing, not only here in the States, I would say pretty much worldwide. And the more we protect that middle class and help them grow, the richest a country can be and a better society we can have. Because when you don't have opportunities for anybody but just a few people, of course all these people is going to be angry. They're mad at the rich, and we see them as the devil, you know, as the bad people, as the enemy, when we don't necessarily have to be. So I think by acquiring small businesses, acquiring mobile home parks, which is a small business pretty much, that has been built through decades, I think what we're doing is also protecting that kind of people, because a lot of times, and we seen it yesterday, like in Clearwater, I was amazed that we have this very old mobile park right next to a huge apartment complex. So what it could happen that if somebody just come and buy the mobile park home, he might erase all those houses, affordable houses, and turn it into another complex. And they're gonna make tons of more money, but they are not protecting middle class people.
Which, by the way, if someone did that, right? And this speaks to the point of how valuable mobile home park communities are, because right now it's the gateway to affordability. So why doesn't the city want to build more mobile home park communities in areas like this? Because they can't generate the same amount of property tax revenue.
Correct.
Right? So that right there is just provides tremendous value in acquiring that sort of asset class, because it speaks to the desirability and the recessionary proof sort of asset that it is, because it doesn't matter if the economy does this, it doesn't matter if it flattens out, it doesn't matter if it drops. That asset class is recession proof. That level of affordability is always needed. Always needed.
Yeah, and as we saw, I was amazed that all the parks that we have been visiting these days, all of them, I will say they have 95% occupancy. I mean, there's no back-end lots. And you see people that have stayed there for years, not necessarily a few months, like in apartment complexes that, hey, I'm just like 9 months and I get out of here. So these people stay loyal to the place more time. So I like so much, as I said, the stability, recession-proof, so you can have good numbers as an investor, but at the same time, and I was sharing this with you and the guys that we were making the rounds yesterday, a lot of immigrants live in these mobile home parks.
Yeah,
because
sure.
we don't have access to subsidized housing by the government because we just arrived maybe a few years ago or whatever. And the other thing is that we are always proud of making a better living by ourselves because we're escaping poverty. So we don't want to be poor in the US as well. So when we come here, we like working and making a progress. So I love the idea of helping them buy their own house in our mobile home parks. And that way they are making a progress. Because being a person that live in these houses for years before I can achieve buying my own house, I remember that when you own the house, even if you're paying rent on the lot, you feel like you're making progress.
Yeah.
Now I have something that is mine, you know? I'm saving a little bit on the rent now because I have a house. And my dream now is one day I'm gonna buy a lot. Even if it's outside of the city, I don't care, but I'm gonna move my house there. In my personal case, I was able to buy a real house and move from there, and my family sold the house.
So you're the perfect example. You're living proof, right?
Yeah.
Of someone who came to this country. You obviously came because you knew that there was opportunity and you were looking for the ability to continue to enhance your life, give a better life to your children. But you started off, which I think is amazing because now you've gone like full circle, right? now you're an investor. Now you're an investor and you're like, man, now I lived in one of these, which is commendable because it's a great starting point. So you went from like, hey, I came here, I lived in one of those, and now I'm gonna like own these parks, right? Yes. And what country? Think about this. This is why we have to preserve the ideology of capitalism in this country, because in what countries can you do what you did, Edmondo?
No, it's
where you came here, lived in a mobile home park, and now you can go and acquire mobile home parks.
Yeah,
right?
It's virtually impossible. It's amazing, and I'm very excited about this project because, as I said, we are not only gonna give numbers to our investors. Of course, we're gonna make money, but we are gonna transform a lot of lives because you have no idea how those families feel. And man, I can feel it myself just by thinking about how when we present them the project of, hey, we can give you a lease to own contract or agreement, and in 5 years, this house is 100% yours.
Yeah.
Man, you have no idea how happy that family is gonna be and the motivation they're gonna get to keep making a progress in their lives because now they achieve something. Hey, things can become true, our dreams can become true. Let's go for the next one. So I love this project, and that's why I wanted to get involved when I realized the big impact that we can have on those families. Again, yes, we want to make money. You and I are going to make money. Our investors are going to make a lot of money, but we are going to be doing it by protecting first middle class and helping them grow as we grew one day.
Yeah.
You know, as we are growing today.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to share, and that way the cake becomes larger.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And you know, again, not to get all like political, but there's so many movements happening, right? Not only in this country, but in countries around the world And the famous quote by Margaret Thatcher, who said, "Socialism is great until you run out of money, and then what?" So countries like the U.S. need to exist, and there's a reason why people want to come to the U.S. And the reason is not because it breeds communism or it breeds socialism. It's because it gives you the opportunity to go from living in a mobile home to owning mobile home parks, right? Of course. So I can't stress that point enough. And for the people that are listening to this, whether they're foreign nationals or whether they have been born and raised in the U.S., there's great opportunity here. It's not where one person has an opportunity and another doesn't. You just have to be smart about it, and you have to look at like perspectives. And we talk about business a lot, right? And educating people that it's one thing, you want to start transitioning how you think. So going from a job to a business owner, that's a huge step, right? But then even that, look, I've met business owners who are making 7+ figures a year. And then when I ask them, if you walk away from your business, can that business still continue to produce predictable, consistent income for you? And the reality is that a strong percentage of business owners say that if I walked away, this would not produce. So it's great that they transitioned from a job to business, but all they did was create more of a responsibility in a higher paying job.
Yeah.
Now the next step is you go from working a job to creating a business. Now your mind has to start thinking, how do I take the income from this business that's making money and transition it into assets that produce whether I'm working or not? Look, here we are midday during the week, and we have the opportunity to sit, enjoy this, and just talk about this kind of stuff. Why? Because we've created assets that produce. So I've got income that comes in whether I'm here or in another part of the world. Whereas if I was working a job, I'm making money, but money has an end.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing for a business. The business is great because it removes the cap of how much you can make.
Yes.
If you're working a 9-to-5 job, high probability you can only make so much. When you're running a business, higher probability that you get to unlimited potential and making money. But then ultimately, you got to transition. You've got to, as a business owner, you've got to transition into investing in assets that create constant cash flow.
And I think it's very important, especially for immigrant people. We are very used to work like crazy.
Yes.
And yes, then we become business owners and we keep working like crazy. But I think it's good to start changing our mindset into, okay, my profit is not necessarily to buy me a new pickup or a new SUV this year. Probably this year, I can stay with the same one that is still okay, and I can invest in something like this fund, for example. How much are SUVs and large pickups nowadays? They are almost 100 grand. 100 grand can get you into our investment fund where we are buying actually mobile home parks. We have several under contract already. So if you want to start making money and be part of the funders of this fund, I think it's very important to be at the beginning, because of course the returns are going to be higher when you jump in first, right? Because you're going to have more time, and we're going to invite you to keep growing with us as you have been doing it for many years, and the other people that is creating the fund have been doing it in the last years as well. So I think it's very important to change our mindset, get profits, fine, from your money making business. Okay, let's turn it into cash flow. That way you can be little transition and being prepared for retirement. A friend of mine asked me a few months ago, hey, what are you doing for retirement? And I'm like, I'm investing in my business. I don't believe on having a 401k and investing in stock.
Totally agree.
I don't have control of that.
Yeah, totally
I want to have control of my stuff. Now what I have to do is transition from my business into a passive income.
Yeah.
Something like our fund. And again, I think there's a huge opportunity in that. And Joe, I just saw a graph yesterday. The second place in the world where the millionaires go is the US. And you might say, oh, it's not the first one anymore. It's a economy so mature that it's so hard to become the first one and stay the first one all the time. But being second place in the world means this country is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And why the millionaires move here? Because of course they still see a lot of opportunity. So why don't we just follow and also bring our funds over here? The other day I was...
and by the way, like when you say follow, right? It's not like we're reinventing the rules to the game. The game has been laid out.
Yes.
But like any game, you cannot play the game if you don't understand the rules, right? So learn the game. Learn the game by learning the rules. And when you learn the rules that have been put in place, by the way, by the wealthy, right? Then you can really play the game.
Yep. The other day I was giving a conference in Mexico to a group of business owners, and that's what I was telling them. Hey, you might feel bad that you are taking money from Mexico and invested in the US. I was telling them, don't feel bad, because one thing, a lot of Mexicans live in those mobile home parks. We're gonna help them actually to protect their homes so they can make a progress. Second thing, if you have returns, very possible some of those returns, you're gonna bring them back to Mexico. Returns that you're not getting in your business or in your passive investments in Mexico. So you're gonna help also our country. And I think it's very good. Did you know that, for example, there's a group of Indians that own 33% of the motels in the US?
Wow.
Do you know that?
But I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Vietnamese own the most nail care salons. Koreans own the dry cleaning industry pretty much. Why don't we, as Latin Americans or foreigners from other countries, own the mobile home parks in the US?
100%.
And again, we're gonna help a lot of immigrants. So I'm very excited about it. You can feel it. And Joe, before we go, I wanna just finish with these nice friends that we have over here of the mobile home parks. And if you can help me understand why these guys are our friends, I think it's very important. Because people might think, oh, that's competition. Yeah. Mobile home parks are gonna go away because of these guys. That's not gonna happen.
Now, mobile home parks are not going to go away. The affordability, I mean, it's like mobile home parks is the first level of affordability. And the more that this stuff gets built around here, the more expensive it gets, the more businesses that get built around, the more of a demand for that kind of stuff. And ultimately what happens to the people that are working in the businesses in the surrounding areas, they can't necessarily afford to be paying $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month in rent. So having mobile home park communities is absolutely essential, because the people that live there are the true laborers of this country, and they need to be appreciated. And so we need to acknowledge that, and we need to like treat it as such, and not remove the idea of mobile home park communities, but embrace it and provide good affordable housing, because without that affordable housing, actually probably a good percentage of this stuff wouldn't exist.
Yep.
Because who would be there to actually build and create all this stuff?
Exactly.
So I'll leave off with this, Edmundo. Like my father was an immigrant, and you know, I'd like to think you know, I got some smarts, but I cannot take credit for the fact that I understood the distinction between poor, middle class, and wealthy. When my father, who owned his own business, he had a hair salon. And I'm like, okay, that's great. You were smart. You came from like Italy as an immigrant, and you moved to North America. You started your own business. So, but why did you get into like buying assets like real estate? And his response to me was, it doesn't matter if I worked a job or if I had my own business. If I got hurt or if I got sick, what was going to continue to produce that predictable cash flow coming in every month to give you guys the life that I wanted to give you? And I will never forget my father telling me that as a teenager, because it really helped shape my understanding of where I've got to put more of my time and energy and effort. So it was a very valuable lesson. This is what we're teaching, and we're giving people the opportunity to do exactly what my dad said. And I love the fact that it's also helping provide people who need that affordable housing, because without them, none of this exists.
Exactly. So if you want to invest in the US, you're thinking about how can I make passive income? Because we see a lot of videos out there, and people like, I don't know, there's a lot of influencers telling you have to do this or the other, but they don't necessarily tell you how. And so if you want to get help and invest with us so we can grow all together, I think that's one of the most important things, one of the most exciting concepts of Buying America, because we're doing it together. We are investing, you are investing with us, and we're gonna grow all together. With this whole buying power that we're gonna get, not only we're gonna buy better, we're also maintain better. We're gonna have less administration costs. We're gonna have so many efficiencies in the power of getting together. So, and eventually, if we want to sell a property, of course, we have more negotiating power because we are not in a hurry. So, if you want to invest with us, give us a shout, give us a comment over here. We are Buying America, and we are now buying mobile home parks. We're going to go about to see another 2 that we have under contract now. If you want to invest in Florida, this is not flipping. This is not what everybody's telling you to invest. This is different. This is a blue ocean. Nobody's really getting into this, so we have to hurry up and invest in this great asset.
Let's go have some fun.
Yes.